Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the anxiety therapist, and today I'm going to be talking about the stages of change. And this is a process that is often applied to those in recovery, so people who have struggled with substance abuse, but it also applies to pretty much everyone who is trying to change some sort of seemingly problematic behavior. So maybe you have been wanting to cut caffeine out of your diet, or you want to focus on eating better, or maybe you want to start a more consistent workout routine. We sort of go through these psychological stages of change whenever we're considering making a big shift in our lives, because we're just, as humans, naturally resistant to change. We like what's familiar, even if sort of the logical part of our brain knows that that is not what is in our best interest or healthiest for us. We still tend to gravitate back toward sort of that homeostasis, right? What is comfortable, what is familiar for us. So the first stage of change is pre-contemplation, and this is kind of an ignorance is bliss type of mentality where we really don't have the insight or introspection to recognize that a change even needs to be made. Then we progress into contemplation. So this is when we recognize that there is, and we can acknowledge that there's a problem, but we're sort of ambivalent about it, right? We're like, still not quite ready, still not quite sure that I want to make this change. I'm sort of sitting on the fence here. Then we move into preparation. So this is when we might start looking at what some of our options are. If let's say we want to start a new workout routine, maybe we look at the classes that are offered in our area, or we look into how much buying a piece of workout equipment might cost, something along those lines. But we're not quite ready to commit at that point. So then we move into the action phase, and this is when we take pretty significant steps to make a change. So maybe we, sign up for that kickboxing class that we were looking into, and we really commit to going twice a week. And so this is actually the shortest stage in the stages of change, and typically lasts 3 to 6 months. But it's important to keep in mind we can also go through these stages of change even within a day. If we're really triggered and we may have an inclination to kind of go back to old behavior. So maybe we just are having a stressful day, and so our natural inclination is to go and eat a huge dessert after dinner because that's what makes us feel good. Then we might go through some of these stages of change just within an hour, trying to modify that behavior or look into whether or not that's going to be productive for us. So after action, we move into the maintenance phase. And this is when we've committed to the change, and we are seeing it through, right? We have made this change consistently for likely several months or even up to a few years, and we're maintaining it, right? We may still face challenges, we may still face triggers or the want to kind of revert back to our old ways, but ultimately we're pretty solid and we're maintaining the change, we're committed. And then the last stage is relapse. And I want to point out how normal and common and natural it is to regress to old behaviors. So when we think about relapse, often we do think about that in relation to substance abuse, but relapse can also be just, like I mentioned before, kind of regressing back to an old habit. So if we're used to binging on candy after we've had a stressful day at work, we might relapse and go back to doing that for a day or a few days or a few weeks. And it's this point at which it's really important not to get super discouraged, because a lot of times people get really fixated here and they're like, oh, I made all this progress and now I'm just back to square one. And so I think it's really important to remember that progress is not linear, right? We are not starting here and going up this nice smooth slope toward our target. progress is very much composed of these sort of highs and lows. So we're gonna take 3 steps forward and take a step back, and then 5 steps forward and then take 2 back. And so it's really important just to keep that in mind when you are trying to tackle any big change, because change is hard. You know, it can take several attempts, and it can take several sort of regressions back for us to really commit to making that change indefinitely. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I put new content out each week, so be sure to follow me on social media at Cathartic Space Counseling. That's on Facebook and Instagram, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Anxiety Therapist. And check out my website if you want to just learn more about me and my practice, and I have some freebies on there as well, some free guides. So that is www.catharticspacecounseling.com. So I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.